Hey man, how's it going? Oh no, I've been loving riding the bike. I've even started doing my own modifications and some of my own maintenance on it. What's that? As long as I don't try doing my own brakes. Hey, welcome back to the channel. Don't worry, my buddy was just talking about front brakes. We're doing the rear pads today. I'm going to be putting in the drag specialty ones. I got these off of Fort 9. The reasons I went with these is they're supposed to be better than stock ones, and they're actually a few dollars cheaper. Plus, it's free shipping. The ones for Harley, you have to actually go and pick them up, which isn't that big of a deal. But the one I like picking up parts from is like an hour away. The closer one where I bought the bike, I don't know. I always find it's a pain in the ass. It's me. It's not them. They're fantastic there. I don't know why. I get in my head when I go there. I prefer going to the other one for parts for whatever reason, even though I do my servicing at my other one. Anyways, let's get at it. So this is on a 2018 Sport Glide, but I'm sure it's pretty similar on most of the Softails. I've seen it on video a couple of times. I haven't seen the actual Sport Glide, someone doing it, but I've also seen people do it different ways. So I'm going to do my interpretation on it, and hopefully I get it close enough. So I might point a few things out here and there of where I've seen other people do it one way and I'm doing it another way because someone else did it that way. And I'm kind of just doing the best I can with the knowledge I have, which is lacking, I'll give you that. But also what I think some people do that I think might benefit from me doing it as well. But anyways, let's get into it. So I've never done this before, but let's start by jacking up the bike. Doesn't have to be too high. I think I'll put it up the first one. Let's take off the bag. So the first thing I'm noticing here is there's not a lot of clearance to get actual a ratchet in here, so I'm going to have to use just hand tools, which isn't a big deal. So 12 millimeter. Sorry, that's my dog knocking over the camera. Do you mind? What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, Cruz, out of the way. Come on. Cruz, come on. So the first thing I've noticed is there's not a lot of room to actually work in here. So I'm not going to be able to get a ratchet in here very well without taking off the exhaust. So I'm going to have to use just hand tools. So first thing is a 12 millimeter wrench. There we go. And I'm actually gonna, those are to hold the caliper on. I'm actually gonna loosen the bolts that are holding on. Sorry, my dog is here trying to get my wrench. I'm gonna loosen the brake pad bolts as well while it's on here. This is a hex key. I don't know if I can see what size it is. 5 millimeter. Hopefully they're not as hard as those bolts were. Yep, they were. Sorry about that. We got her off though. I'll do it like this instead. There we go. I'm not going to do them too loose, just to hold them in here. Now, let's do the rest of these ones. Oh, and I almost forgot. I've seen everyone that does their brakes use gloves because of how corrosive the brake fluid can be. So I'm gonna be a guy that actually wears gloves for a change. Never ever done that. Someone told me they're hard to get out here and have to actually take the whole tire off, but I don't think I need to do that, but we're gonna find out here right quickly, I guess. Okay, you know what? There's a little clip right in here that doesn't give me enough room for lines to get it out. So I'm going to undo this line or this clip and this clip as well, just to give me more room to move this out. So 1 second. Okay, so I actually can't get Torx bit into there because of the exhaust again. So I'm just leaving it. So I've been able to pry it up and just get enough room where I'll be able to actually change the pads. As you can see, the pads are pretty low. They started squealing, and that's why I kind of knew it. The front ones I have replaced previously last year. The dealership did it for me, but I figured these were still good. They still had, I think they said 50 to or 25% left on these, so they were fine because you don't use a lot of rear brake, which I find I actually use a lot more rear brake than I find other people do. I use it every single time I brake, so I think mine wear out quicker than other people's may. Okay, so now let's move up to the brake cylinder. So we have to undo the brake master cylinder here, just so it's easier to pry the pistons back in, so it has less resistance. Now this is one of those ones where I'm not 100% sure, and I can't wrap my brain around it, but I've seen where people drain some of the brake fluid out of here doing this, because it might overflow because there's too much in it. But the way my brain thinks is the last time it was put in, it should have all the fluid that it would need or want. It wouldn't be too much fluid because they would have put brand new brakes on with the amount of fluid that it needed. So if it's pushed further that way, it would just more would come up here. I don't know. I'm not going to drain any of it. I'm just going to relieve some of the pressure here. And I'm going to just wrap it with paper towel or rags, and just to make sure it doesn't leak out, or at least if it does, there's something to catch it. Okay, now that we have the brake reservoir undone, I'm going to remove the brake pad bolts. If I can hang on to these. I don't know how you guys use these gloves. I'm not used to them, I guess. I don't know. Okay, so now we can push these apart. Use a screwdriver to just pull them down. You don't want to go too fast because then that's going to have more coming out the front. Just slowly, so nothing coming out so far. Okay, I think I've bottomed them out. Okay, so there's the old pads. As you can see, there's not much left on them. And let's get the new ones. Actually, before we do that, this is one of those things that I don't see a lot of people actually doing, but I'm going to do it. And that's getting some brake cleaner and cleaning this all off. So just take your brake cleaner, spray it on. And yes, I'm using a regular toothbrush because I forgot to get a wire brush at the store, but this will be fine. Still gonna look better than what it did. That's the retainer clip where the bolts go through. So let's give that a good scrub. Clean all that brake dust out. Looks pretty good. So the other thing that I've only seen one other person do it, and I thought it was a good idea to do because they obviously said to do it, and that was the shop manual, Harry Henning, taking an SOS, or not an SOS pad, but a Scotch-Brite pad, and actually cleaning the rotors. Apparently it will help seat the new pads quicker. So I'm just going to give it a quick scrub down to get rid of all the brake dust. And yes, my kids will be mad that I use this, but if you don't tell them, I won't. Good. And we'll do the inside here. There, all done. Okay, now to put it back together, you put the retaining pin back in. Get the new pads. The new pads, they're both the same, so it doesn't really matter which side. Put one in there. One on that side, and then put the retaining screws in. Make sure they're held in place. Okay. Now to snake it back in there. Let's get that for some protection. Might need it for the clearance though. There we go. So it should slide right back on. Oh, that's popped out there. Just a bushing on the brake bolt there. The caliper bolt was pushed out. Now we can put the brake caliper bolts back in. The big one goes up at the top one. And the little one goes at the bottom. So So now these actually do have to be torqued. I mean, they'll be different for each model. For this one here, it is 28 to 38 foot-pounds for these two bolts. And for these ones in here, it's 11 to 14 pounds. So that's 38 to 51.5 for these ones. Newton meters, these are 14.7 to 19.6 Newton meters for the inside ones. And I'm not going to bore you with that. I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to get the torque wrench onto those ones without removing the exhaust. So I'll tighten these up, and I'm not going to bore you with that right now. Okay, sorry, I didn't bother with showing you guys, but I did have to take or drop down the exhaust to get the torque wrench on those. Once again, the caliper bolts were 28 to 38 foot-pounds, and the pad ones are 11 to 14 foot-pounds. It's a pain in the ass. I didn't want to have to do that, but at least now I know how to take off an exhaust. So yeah, that's it for that portion. Now we have to tighten up the front brake reservoir here. So quickly, let's take this off. I don't think anything... Nope. Didn't leak anything out. So yeah, that's why I was saying I don't know why people take some fluid out of there, because it should all fit in, right? Like, you fill it all up, and I don't know. Maybe someone that knows more about fluid stuff can tell me why that is. But I would think because it's the way it was before, in there, it's not like it expanded, but maybe it does. I don't know. I don't see that why you would need to take it out. Maybe, I don't know. Anyways, let's just tighten this up here. Not too tight, obviously. You don't want to crack it, because this is, from what I understand, that's plastic on there. So once that's done, you just have to prime the brake pedal to get the fluid in there. So it's really spongy. There. It's all done now. So there, now the only thing left to do is put the bag back on, lower it, and take it for a ride. However, it's end of April right now in Southern Ontario, and it's only 1 degree out right now, which normally I've gone out colder than that, but we're actually having flurries right now, so I'm not going to bother taking it out. I'll have to take it out another day. But anyways, like I said, there's other ways I've seen people do this, where some just loosen the bolts, the caliper bolts right here, and take the bolts out and just spin this, and the pads come out, and then put it back in the same way it came out without actually taking the caliper off. I wanted to take it off just to see how it's done. I also was told by someone online that for a Softail, you actually have to take the rear tire off to actually get the brakes, and it's quite a job, but I was able to finagle it out of here and put it back in, so I don't think you need to. Maybe other Softails are different, but I was able to get it out without having to do that, so I'm quite happy. Again, I did have to lower this, which is a pain in the ass, but like I said before, I've never done it before. I've never done the exhaust. The bike came with that exhaust on it, so it was kind of nice to see how it's done, but I wasn't going to bore you guys with seeing how that's done. So make sure you torque those down. I didn't put any extra Loctite on there because I've seen people put Loctite on, and I've seen people not put Loctite on, and I think you're supposed to put blue one. Don't quote me on that. But I only had the one kind, and I wasn't 100% sure that's the kind I should use on it, so I didn't actually put it on. But they are torqued down, and they shouldn't fall off while I'm riding. Where's some wood? I don't know. But yeah, anyways, thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and thanks for watching.